Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings for Monday, February the 6th. We do have an 8-game Monday slate. This should be an interesting one because we have some short-handed teams today. Obviously, there were some major trades that went down over the weekend, so Brooklyn, for example, Dallas, they're going to be really short-handed today, missing some key guys because of those trades. We're going to go through and talk through each one of these 8 games, give kind of a quick breakdown of each game, what I like, taking a first look on Sunday night. And as always, before we do get started with the breakdown, if you guys do enjoy these DFS videos and if they do help you out, please hit that like button down below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And if you guys are new to the channel, if you have never checked out PrizePicks before, PrizePicks is the sponsor of this video. You guys can sign up for PrizePicks and use my promo code NOAH. You will get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you sign up for PrizePicks with my promo code. And for those of you that have never heard about PrizePicks, they're a player prop site. So as you can see, they have projections posted for some players on Monday's games. Obviously, take a look at the board again sometime Monday afternoon. You'll see a ton of different props available. This is just what's available right now when I'm making this video on Sunday night. But they have points props, rebounds, assists, PRA. They have a ton of different categories. And if you see any lines you like, whether you think a line is too high or too low, you can take more or you can take less on a projection. You have to make at least 2 picks. You can make up to 6 picks, and you can win up to 25x your money on PrizePicks. So if you guys are not playing over there yet, get signed up. Use that promo code NOAH when you sign up, or just click the link in the description, and you will get your first deposit matched up to $100. But let's go ahead and talk through Monday's 8-game slate, and we'll start off with the first game of the night, the Cavs and the Wizards. So we're going to start off on the Washington side. So news to watch for Washington today. For one, they don't have Kyle Kuzma, who has already been ruled out, and then Bradley Beal is questionable. So Washington could be really shorthanded here without Kuzma and potentially without Beal as well. I think if Beal plays, both him and Porzingis are viable options here. Now Porzingis is really expensive, $9,600. Obviously Porzingis gets a boost here without Kuzma, but at this price tag in this matchup against Cleveland, I'm not super interested in Porzingis at this price, even if Beal's out, Porzingis is gonna have a massive role, but man, the price tag is just super tough to get to in a tough matchup. I think Beal though would look really appealing at $7,300. He would obviously pick up a bigger role without Kuzma, and I think at this price tag he looks a little bit more appealing. Between him or Porzingis, I would rather take the savings and go to Beal over Porzingis. And then the rest of the Wizards, I don't love a ton else, but I will say that without Kuzma, I think Deni Avdija will definitely play more here. He probably starts for Kuzma if I had to guess. And Deni Avdija has been pretty productive on a permanent basis. When he's gotten playing time this season, he's been able to produce. He's a really good rebounder. He's a guy that can do a little bit of everything when he's on the floor. So at $5,500, I do have some interest in Deni Avdija today. Obviously, he would look even better if Beal got ruled out. Same could be said for a guy like Monte Morris. I don't mind at $5,200 if you want to go there. He hasn't shown much of a ceiling this year, but did come off a big game against Brooklyn. Definitely playable if you want to go to Monte Morris. The rest of Washington, though, Gafford, DeLon Wright, I don't think any of these guys I'm really looking to. It's really, kind of the main guys, Porzingis, Beal, obviously if Beal plays. And then Deni Avdija I do like as a value. I think Monte Morris, if Beal got ruled out, would become a little bit viable. But that's probably it. I don't see too much else here. Corey Kispert as a dart throw, I don't hate. I think he's playable. I think Kispert would definitely look better if Beal got ruled out. But let's move to the other side of this game, talk about Cleveland. So Cleveland is on the second night of a back-to-back. We'll have to monitor their injury report. I'd assume everyone plays here. I don't expect Cleveland to rest anyone. So Donovan Mitchell, $8,300. Feels priced about right. I think this matchup against Washington is pretty good, but I wouldn't consider Mitchell a top option today. Not a guy that I'm really trying to jam in. I think Garland feels priced about right at $8K. Mobley and Allen, again, not guys I love at their price tags. I think it's a pretty good spot for the bigs. We've seen, we've seen Washington give up some big games to centers this season. I think it's a good spot for Jared Allen, but the matchup or the price tag, even with the good matchup, doesn't make Allen a standout option. Not too much to really like on Cleveland. Most of my interest in this game is on the Washington side. So that'll do it for that one. Let's move on to the next game, Boston and Detroit. Not a ton to really like here. I think for Detroit today, this is a team I've kind of not been going too heavy on lately just because Detroit's a team that will run kind of a deep rotation. This is a matchup that I obviously don't really like. I will say that we definitely need to monitor the status of Isaiah Stewart, who is questionable. If Isaiah Stewart gets ruled out, I think Jalen Duren becomes a little bit more appealing just because without Isaiah Stewart and without Marvin Bagley, Duren would have to play a lot. Now, the matchup against Boston is really tough, but I would think Duren plays over 30 minutes if Isaiah Stewart's out, so he would become viable at $5,100. He might play even in a blowout too. Like we've seen them play Duran even in blowouts this season. So like I think he's fine. But Bojan in this spot, I don't love. Same with Jaden Ivey and Sadiq Bey and the rest of these guys. Alec Burks has been starting lately. He's been okay as a starter. Hasn't shown like a massive ceiling, but he's still fairly cheap. He's playable. But Detroit, again, not a team I'm super interested in today. Now on the other side with Boston, really good matchup here for Boston. Detroit's been like one of the worst defensive teams in the league this season. So Tatum and Brown are both in really good spots. Obviously, you kind of worry about blowout here, but honestly, if Boston does blow them out, it's probably because one of Tatum or Brown's having a really big game. So I don't mind going to either one of these guys. Tatum is a little bit more expensive. He's $11K. Brown is $8,700. Given the savings, maybe I'd lean Jaylen Brown over Tatum, but I think both of the big two from Boston are playable here. Malcolm Brogdon's been playing more without Marcus Smart lately, but he feels priced about right at $6,100. Derek White feels priced about right at $5,600. Time Lord, $5,500. Good permanent producer. Minutes have been pretty good lately. Matchup against Detroit, I think, is fine. Like I don't mind Time Lord today, but I think there's just better plays available. Again, some of these shorthanded teams that we're going to talk about later, there's going to be a lot to like from those teams. So that's probably it for this game. Not too much to like in this one, honestly. Let's move on to the next game, the Clippers and the Nets. So this is one we're definitely going to have to spend some time on. We'll start off on the Nets side since they're kind of like one of the key teams to target on the slate. So obviously Kevin Durant is still out, and then over the weekend, Kyrie Irving got traded. So Kyrie Irving will not be available for this game. Seth Curry is also out as well, and then Ben Simmons is questionable. So, man, this Nets team, I mean, they might only have like what? I don't know how many players they'll have available. Claxton, O'Neal, Thomas, T.J. Warren's probable, so he should play. Sumner, Joe Harris, Sharp, Utah Watanabe, Patty Mills. I mean, they still have a good amount of guys, but some of these guys, like at the end of the bench, like Drew Smith, Kessler Edwards, like I don't know if these guys probably get a ton of playing time. So we can expect Brooklyn to be pretty tight here. And I think if this game is competitive, we can expect some big minutes for certain guys. Starting off with Nick Claxton. Claxton this season, been a really good permanent producer, and his production lately has been really good without Kevin Durant. I don't know if he's a guy that's going to really pick up more usage. He's not really like a high usage player, but he's a really good rebounder. He's a great shot blocker. He can obviously get those lobs. So like I think Claxton at 7,900 is playable. Next guy from Brooklyn, Ben Simmons. We'll have to see if he plays. He hasn't played in like a couple weeks, I think. Last game he played was on the 26th of January, so it's been like a week or two since he's played. I would think if Ben Simmons plays today, he'll probably be limited. So I don't know if he's going to be DFS viable unless we get word that he's not limited. If he's not limited, I would definitely have interest in Ben Simmons just because he's kind of like the last man standing right now. But we'll have to see if he's able to go. Royce O'Neal, not a very high usage player, but is a guy that can do a little bit of everything, score, rebound, and get assists. He can also get defensive stats too. I mean, without Kyrie, they need offense. I don't know if Royce O'Neal's really going to be able to provide a ton of offense, but again, he can rebound, he can get assists. I think he's playable at 5,900, but once we get down to some of these values, this is where it starts to get really interesting. So Cam Thomas, 5K. We saw him have a really big game over the weekend, put up 57 Draftkings points against Washington, played 29 minutes off the bench. I don't know who's going to start for Brooklyn today. I'm guessing their starting lineup. I think their starting lineup last game was Sumner. I think Curry played last game. Yeah, Curry played. That was the game he got injured in. So I think it was Sumner, Curry, Royce, Claxton, and I can't remember who the fifth starter was. Let me see. I think this was on Saturday, and I wasn't paying attention to NBA a ton on Saturday. And I think this was like one of the early games too. I can't remember who the fifth starter was, but they did start Sumner, Curry, Claxton, and Royce O'Neal. We know those four guys, besides Curry, will definitely be in the starting lineup. So we can expect Sumner to start. We can expect Claxton to start. We can expect Royce O'Neal to start. After that, not 100% sure. Could we see Cam Thomas start? I think it's possible. He obviously provided them a ton of offense off the bench last game, and now they're even more shorthanded today. I think even if Cam Thomas comes off the bench, he's still going to play a good amount, and he is a guy that can create his own shot. He's a high-usage player, so I think he is someone that is really interesting today as a value at 5K. T.J. Warren should be back. I don't know if he'll start. There's a possibility he does. Obviously, he's a guy that can create his own shot as well, can soak up usage, so I think T.J. Warren's a pretty good value here. And then Edmund Sumner had a really big game, played 39 minutes, had 40 DraftKings points. I'm expecting him to start at point guard. He's only 4,500. He's going to be a really good value today. Then depending on, I think it was Joe Harris that started last game, but Joe Harris didn't play a ton. Don't know if Joe Harris is going to be a guy I really look to today. But the rest of Brooklyn, like Day'Ron Sharp, he's just going to play backup center minutes, so he's not really that interesting. Maybe Utah Watanabe gets some playing time here. He did get 25 minutes last game. I think at 3,700, he is a playable value. But definitely my favorite plays from Brooklyn are Claxton, O'Neal, Thomas, Sumner, and TJ Warren. I would say my favorites overall are probably Thomas and Sumner. I think Thomas and Sumner are both going to be really good values here for the Nets. Obviously, no Kyrie, no Seth Curry. They're really shorthanded, and maybe they don't have Ben Simmons either. We'll have to see if Ben Simmons plays. But now on the other side with the Clippers, so I don't see too much I really like on the Clippers today. Kawhi and PG both feel priced about right here. If I had to pick one, I think I'd go with Kawhi. Kawhi's been really productive on a per-minute basis lately. He's been playing massive minutes. He's been playing like 40 minutes a game. There is some blowout risk here with Brooklyn being, shorthanded today, not having their normal guys. But if this game stays close, we can expect really big minutes for Kawhi. I think he's playable. I think PG's playable. Don't really like any other Clippers. Norman Powell, Zubac. I don't see a ton else that I like on this team. Most of my interest in this game is definitely on the Brooklyn side. I do want to mention that, obviously Brooklyn, they traded for Spencer Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith, but those guys, they won't be available yet for today. I think they're going to play Wednesday. So that's another reason, again, Brooklyn's going to be really shorthanded. But let's move on to the next game, the Spurs and the Bulls. So on the Bulls side, it's a pretty good spot here. The Spurs have been one of the worst defensive teams in the league this season. Vooch, DeRozan, Levine, they all feel priced about right for today, but because the matchup is so good, I think it's likely that one of these guys has a good game. Good luck guessing which one it's going to be. I think my favorite would probably be DeRozan at 8,800, but Vooch is fine at 9,100. The Spurs have definitely given up big games to centers this season, so I don't mind the spot for Vooch. I think DeRozan's in a pretty good spot, though. I don't think the Spurs really have anyone to slow him down defensively. And again, the Spurs have been a terrible defensive team, so it's definitely a good spot for DeRozan. Pretty good spot for Levine as well. He had a disappointing game against Charlotte, but bounced back against Portland, had 55 DK points. I think this matchup's pretty good for Levine. Price tag feels about right. None of the Bulls guys are priority plays today, but I think they're all viable options. Patrick Williams, I believe, is probable. Yeah, he's probable, so he's expected to play. Don't see a ton of value in him. I think there's just going to be way better value today from some of these shorthanded teams. Not too much else stands out in Chicago. And then on the other side with San Antonio could be really shorthanded today. They don't have Devin Vassell. They don't have Jeremy Sohan. And Keldon Johnson and Trey Jones are both questionable. So these are going to be some big injuries to watch. If Keldon Johnson and Trey Jones play, they should have pretty big roles here without Devin Vassell, without Sohan. I think they'd both be okay options. Keldon's obviously going to play big minutes here if the game's competitive. You worry about blowout. Anytime you talk about the Spurs, they always seem to get blown out. They got blown out last game. Keldon didn't play full minutes, but if they keep this game close, we can expect Keldon to play big minutes. He's definitely in play at 7,100. And then Trey Jones, if he's back for this game, I would think he picks up a bigger role here without Vassell, without Sohan. His minutes have not been super high lately, but I would think he plays probably 30 minutes, and at 5,700, that does put him in play on this slate. And then Jakob Poeltl, he's been really productive lately. Minutes have not been super high, but last game was a blowout. The game before that, he played about normal minutes. I think we can expect about 30 minutes from Poeltl today if this game's competitive. He had a really big game against Chicago earlier this season. If Keldon's not playing, if Trey Jones not playing, Poeltl's a guy they can kind of run the offense through. We've seen Poeltl be really productive on a point-per-minute basis this season. He seems to either get in foul trouble or the Spurs get blown out, so he never gets full minutes. But when he gets 30 minutes, you saw against Sacramento, against Phoenix, he can put up big games when the minutes are there. The price tag's not super expensive, so I definitely like Jakob Poeltl on this slate. And then for value on San Antonio, it's really going to depend on who's available. Josh Richardson has been starting at point guard in place of Trey Jones. Obviously, if Trey Jones is not available, Josh Richardson would look like a really good value. Keita Bates-Diop has been starting lately. He should continue to start. I think he's okay at 4,600. Obviously, would look better if Keldon Johnson got ruled out. Malachi Branham started last game, played a ton of minutes. I think he even played in the blowout too. So his minutes probably will be pretty secure here. I think he plays, he probably plays 30-plus minutes regardless of if it's a competitive game or not. He's 4,500, so I think he's definitely viable as a value option, assuming he does start again. And that's probably it from San Antonio. I don't see anything else I really like here, so let's go ahead and move on to the next game, talk about Sacramento and Houston. So for this one, we'll start off on the Houston side. Houston's kind of in a good spot here. Sacramento does play at a relatively fast pace. This game should be somewhat fast-paced, high-scoring. Houston, Şengün going to have a massive role. I do want to mention that Jalen Green is back, but they're still without Kevin Porter Jr. We've seen them run the offense a little bit more through Şengün lately without KPJ. Şengün's minutes have also been amazing lately. Now, last game, foul trouble and blowout, so his minutes were way down against OKC. But prior to that game, he's been playing like 30-plus minutes a night. 8,600 does feel like an appropriate price tag. I think he's priced correctly, but Şengün definitely has a ton of upside. And we've seen, when he plays 30-plus minutes, he's got triple-double upside. I think he's firmly in play. Jalen Green at 6,900 I think is fine as well. Without Kevin Porter Jr., we can expect a really big role for Jalen Green. I think this matchup's pretty good. I think the pace of this game should be good as well. So I think Jalen Green's in a decent spot. But outside of that, I'm not going to really anyone else on Houston. KJ Martin, Eric Gordon, these guys will look a little bit overpriced now that Jalen Green's back. Tari Eason's had some big games off the bench lately, but I really don't want to chase that. He's probably going to play like maybe 18, 20 minutes. I don't expect him to play a ton. Obviously, last game got a little bit of extended run because of blowout. So that's probably it for Houston. And then on the other side with Sacramento, second night of a back-to-back for Sacramento, so we're going to have to monitor their injury report. De'Aaron Fox was out for personal reasons on Sunday, so we'll have to wait and see if he plays today. Obviously, if he doesn't play, that's a little bit of a boost for kind of everyone. Sabonis, Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, Malik Monk, they all get a little bit of a boost. Davion Mitchell has been starting lately in place of Fox, but he's been really bad as a starter. He did play 22 minutes against Indiana, and then on Sunday he played 29 minutes against the Pelicans. Now, that game was a blowout, but man, even when Davion Mitchell has gotten full minutes, he's just not been that productive this season. Now, this matchup is incredible. Houston is a sloppy team. They turn the ball over a lot. They've been a great matchup for point guards. So, God, I think if Fox is out again, I kind of have interest in Davion Mitchell, and I know he's not been good lately, but the matchup's just so good. The game environment's so good that I think Mitchell would still be viable at 3,800. Obviously, Barnes, Huerter, Monk would all be viable plays as well. Sabonis will definitely look more appealing if Fox were to sit. If Fox plays, I don't love a ton on Sacramento. I think Fox himself in this matchup would look pretty good. Houston's obviously been a great spot for point guards, as we just mentioned. Fox, I would assume, plays full minutes if he's able to go today. It's not like he's been out for personal reasons. I don't think he's not been out for injury or anything. So I would assume if he plays today, he's getting his full minutes at 8,500 in this matchup. I definitely would have interest in Fox if he's playing. But again, second night of a back-to-back. I'm recording this video on Sunday night, so we don't really have any news there. We'll have to just kind of wait and see. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game, though. This is another one we're going to have to spend some time on, Dallas and Utah. We'll start off on the Utah side because Utah's pretty easy to go through. I don't see a ton of love on Utah here. Everyone feels priced about right. There's definitely other teams that are shorthanded today that are going to provide us some value. I don't see too much on Utah that I like. Marketing at 9K feels priced about right for this spot. I will say Dallas's defense is not going to be good here. They're really going to struggle. Without Dorian Finney-Smith, they're missing their best defenders right now. So it's a pretty good spot for Marketing. It's just that the price tag doesn't make him that appealing. Same goes for Jordan Clarkson and Mike Conley. Walker Kessler has shown some big upside this season. 5,400, his price tag has come down, but the minutes also came way down last game. And I don't even know if that was I think they just benched him. He wasn't in foul trouble. I don't think he wasn't injured. So yeah, I don't see too much I really like here on Utah. And really, my interest in this game is on the Dallas side. So obviously for Dallas, Luka's still out right now. He's injured. Kyrie Irving got traded to Dallas, but Kyrie Irving is not going to be available for this game. And then, they traded away Dinwiddie. They traded away Dorian Finney-Smith. So those guys are not playing. So Dallas is going to be really short-handed. Christian Wood's questionable. We'll have to see if he plays for this game. He hasn't played in 3 weeks. I would think if Christian Wood plays, he'll probably be limited, but I don't know. It's a thumb injury. It's going to depend on his conditioning. I would think thumb injury wouldn't be something that would limit him, but we'll have to monitor that. If Christian Wood's able to go, obviously he would have a big, big role here. He would kind of be the lead guy on offense, so he would definitely be appealing at 8,400 if he's able to play and if he's not limited, but that's just news we don't have right now. Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to have a really big role. I mean, he's one of the few guys left that can kind of create their own shot, that can provide offense, can soak up usage. The price tag at 6,400 feels about right, but I still think Tim Hardaway Jr. is playable today. And then, value-wise from Dallas, there's a lot of value here. Josh Green, not been a great permanent producer this season, but he's going to have to play a ton. He's been starting lately without Luka. Obviously, he should continue to start, should play big minutes. He's only 4,700. He's going to play probably 34, 35 minutes, so he is definitely on my radar for value. And then we're going to have to monitor starting lineups. So I think we can for sure pencil in Tim Hardaway Jr., Josh Green, and Dwight Powell as a starter. Who the other two starters are, I have no idea. If Christian Wood plays, I think Christian Wood would start. They could start Reggie Bullock. They could start like who starts at point guard, I think is the real question without Luka and without Dinwiddie. My guess is it's either I don't even know this McKinley Wright. I literally never heard of this guy. Or Jaden Hardy. Jaden Hardy, I know this season has been a guy that has been able to soak up usage, and he's actually been pretty good on a point per minute basis. So like, if Jaden Hardy starts, he's actually someone that I would be really interested in playing because I think he's going to be a good value. He's going to project well, and if he's starting, I think he would have to play a lot, and he might even play like even in a blowout. I mean, Dallas might only have like how many players will they even have available for this game? Not a ton. So I think for the guards, that's where they're kind of really thin. I'd assume either Wright or Hardy starts. Whichever guy starts at point guard is going to be a really good value. I would rather it be Hardy, but even Wright at 3,500. Don't have a ton of sample on him, but he's going to have to play a lot here without Luka and Dinwiddie, so he's definitely in play for value. And then obviously the guys we talked about already look solid. So yeah, Dallas, there's going to be value to go to here. They're just shorthanded. I mean, if Christian Wood plays, they're going to have Christian Wood, Tim Hardaway, Josh Green, Dwight Powell, Reggie Bullock, McKinley Wright, Jaden Hardy, AJ Lawson. Is he even on? Yeah, I think he's available. So that's 8 players. And then they'll have Ntilikina, and then like bigs, McGee, Silva, Theo Pinson. So like they're not going to have a ton of available players. You should see pretty tight minutes for this Mavs team. They're going to have to run kind of a tighter rotation here, and there's definitely going to be value to target from Dallas. We're going to have to wait and see what Dallas' starting lineup is. That's going to be really important. But let's go ahead and move on to the last 2 games of the night. We'll go over these quickly. So OKC and Golden State. We'll start off on the Golden State side. No Steph Curry for Golden State today. So without Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson both benefit. Andrew Wiggins should benefit as well. I think it's 7K. Klay definitely looks solid on the slate. I have no issue going to Klay. I think Jordan Poole is one of the better plays on the slate. He's only 6,200. His price tag actually came down with Steph Curry out. Go figure. So I think at 6,200, Jordan Poole looks like a really good option. He should start at point guard, and obviously he's been pretty good, I would say, in the games without Curry this season. Draymond, I don't know if he really benefits without Curry. If anything, it might hurt him because Draymond picks up a lot of his assists from Curry, but still the rebounding numbers should be solid. Peripheral stats, he's always going to give you those. He's never going to provide a ton of scoring, but I think Draymond's still fine. They are going to go back to starting Kevon Looney, I'd assume. I'd assume they're going to have Kevon Looney in the starting lineup. So with Kevon Looney starting, that's definitely going to hurt Draymond's rebound numbers. But Draymond should still be able to provide some peripherals, assists, some defensive stats. He's still playable. Wiggins at 5,800, I think is playable, but I'd probably rather go to like Poole and Klay. And then Kevon Looney, if he's going to start now, I mean, the matchup's really good. We've seen OKC really struggle against bigs this season, really struggle to rebound. Looney never really plays a ton. Even when he starts, he's only going to play like 26, 28 minutes. But I think this could be a spot where he's really productive in the minutes that he does play. So I don't mind him as a value at 4,700. And then Dante DiVincenzo, he probably plays a little bit more without Curry. Playable option, but not a guy that I love. And then on the OKC side, SGA at 10.7. Fine pay-up option today. Wouldn't consider him a priority play, but he's definitely viable. This game should be played at a really fast pace. Both these teams do play fast. This game should be high scoring. I know last time these teams played, SGA put up 50 DK points in 37 minutes. He's appropriately priced at 10.7, but still viable. Josh Giddey's production's been pretty good lately. He's had 3 good games in a row, been playing pretty solid minutes. Obviously, last game lost some minutes because of the blowout, but I would think if this game's competitive, we're probably getting over 30 minutes from Giddey, and at 7,800, he is definitely in play today. I don't have an issue going there. But that's really it for OKC. I'm not really looking to anyone else here besides Giddey and SGA, so let's go ahead and move on to the last game of the night, Milwaukee and Portland. We'll start off on the Portland side. So tough spot here for Damian Lillard against a good Bucks defense. He's probably going to see a lot of Jrue Holiday, who's a really good defender. But Dame has just been playing at an elite level lately, been playing massive minutes as well. Dame is always pretty much in play for me, but I wouldn't consider him a priority on this slate. Anthony Simons, Jeremy Grant, Josh Hart, these guys all feel priced about right. We've seen Hart's production be pretty good lately. He's picked up some better rebounding numbers the last few games without use of Nurkic, and I think not having Nurkic is definitely beneficial for Hart. Hart's a guy that does rebound really well, and they seem to be, they've been kind of running some small ball lineups. They've been playing Trenton Watford at the 5 a lot, so I think Josh Hart at 5,900 of the secondary Portland guys, he probably would be my favorite. And then Drew Eubanks, probably going to pass on. Even the last few games he has started, he's not been that productive. His minutes have also not been that great either. This matchup's also very tough for centers. I'll pass on Eubanks today. Watford's been playing a good amount off the bench, but I'm not going to chase that. There's just way better value available today with those Nets guys and the Dallas value as well. So that's pretty much it from Portland. Not much to like on Portland. Now on the other side with Milwaukee, Giannis is 12-1, really expensive, but we kind of have the salary today. I mean, there's plenty of value from some of these teams we talked about. So if you want to pay up for Giannis, I have no issue doing that. Giannis has been great lately. Last 5 games has been amazing. 70, 73, 62, 81, 77 DK points. Even with kind of the team fully healthy, Drew healthy, Middleton healthy, Giannis has still been putting up massive numbers, been playing massive minutes as well. I don't think Portland really has anyone to slow him down here, especially with like Nurkic not being out there is even better for Giannis. So definitely like Giannis today as a pay-up option. Drew at 7,600 feels priced about right. Not in love with him. Brook Lopez, I'll pass on. Chris Middleton, super cheap, but he's been playing limited minutes lately, and you kind of see like his minutes have just slowly been increasing each game. He's gone 15, 15, 15, 18, 20, 20, 20. So maybe today he plays like 24. He's been productive though in the minutes he's gotten. I mean, he's been averaging like over a fantasy point per minute. He's been playing a lot with the second unit, so his usage has been really good. He's cheap. He's going to play probably 24, 25 minutes. It's probably more of like a late slate play than like a main slate play, but I think Chris Middleton is okay on the slate. Obviously, he's going to play full minutes at some point. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I think at some point we can expect Middleton to get back to playing 30-plus minutes. Obviously, probably not today, but maybe like in a week or so. The day he moves into the starting lineup, that's probably the day that I would assume that he's playing full minutes. If he starts, I think Middleton would be a great value, but for now, it seems like they're just going to keep bringing him off the bench. But there's really nothing else I like on Milwaukee today. A lot of my interest from this game is with Giannis. Giannis is definitely my favorite play in this one. So that'll do it, guys, for this 8-game Monday slate. This should definitely be a fun one. Again, there's some shorthanded teams today, so there's going to be some value on the slate. There's plenty of studs to pay up for, so you can kind of, even though there's going to be some chalky value, you can kind of get different with the studs you pick from, whether you want to go Giannis or Tatum or SGA or Dame or Sabonis. But yeah, this should be a fun Monday slate. Hope you guys enjoy this video. As always, I appreciate you watching. Make sure you hit that like button if you enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And if you guys are new to the channel, again, go check out PrizePicks, sponsor of the video. You guys can sign up for PrizePicks. Use my promo code NOAH. You will get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you do sign up for PrizePicks with my promo code. Definitely check them out if you have not yet. But good luck on this Monday slate, guys. Hopefully we can all win some money tonight, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.